Welcome. This is the May 18th, 2026 Estes Park School District R3 Board of Education regular meeting. It is now 5:16 p.m. and this meeting is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chris, please conduct a board roll call.
Director Furry,
Here.
Director Roberts,
Here.
Director Shockett,
Here.
Director Wejderski,
Here.
Director Weiss. Here.
Moving on to approval agenda. Board members have an agenda before you. At this time, I'll take any comments or amendments to the current agenda. Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
We have a motion and second. Chris, please conduct a board roll call.
Director Furry,
Aye.
Director Roberts. Aye. Director Shockett,
Aye.
Director Wejderski,
Aye.
Director Weiss. Aye.
Ayes carry the vote. Agenda is approved. Moving on to agenda item 2, public participation. We have an individual signed up this evening. Nicholas Pierce, please come up to the stand. Mr. Pierce, there's a button at the bottom to push. Nope, just push on. You'll see a green light come on. Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
You'll have, state your name, affiliation, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Nicholas Pierce. I am the band director at Estes Park Middle School and Estes Park High School. I'm here today speaking on my behalf and on behalf of the Estes Park Band Program. This past Friday, following last week's concert, which several of you I believe were at, I was called into a meeting and informed that my contract would not be renewed for the 2026-2027 school year, pending confirmation by the board at this meeting tonight. As of just a few hours before this meeting, this topic did not appear on the public agenda. Intentional or not, I find that omission concerning after being told that this would be discussed at tonight's meeting. What is also concerning is that I had already signed my contract for next school year. A contract represents trust and agreements to move forward together in service of our students. My union representatives are currently reviewing both my contract and the circumstances surrounding this decision, and that process is still ongoing. I know I am a flawed, imperfect person, as are we all. I have made mistakes throughout this year. But through every challenge, my priority has always been the students and the success of the Estes Park Band Program. At this stage of the year, removing a band director can do real damage to students and the program. Planning for next year is already well underway. Marching band rehearsals and camps are scheduled, the show is being designed, music selected, concerts being planned, etc. A late change in leadership risks delaying or dismantling months of preparation and significantly impacts the success of the fall season. I firmly believe the students of this program would be better served by allowing me to continue this work for another year while these concerns that are brought against me are further evaluated. My first year in Estes Park has included great successes, mistakes, and a constant effort to improve. If I'm allowed to continue here, that commitment to growth will continue as well. I've already begun developing a detailed action plan to address the concerns that have been brought against me, and I intend for that plan to remain a living document as I learn and improve. I'm not asking to be seen as above criticism. I'm simply asking for the opportunity to continue serving these students and this community and to do what I tell my students to do every day. Leave this place better than I found it and better than it found me. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Buford also signed up to speak this evening, but I do not see her present. So moving on to agenda item 3, Spotlight on Success, Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America Conference. Rachel, come on up. And April, you as well. Yep, April, come on up. You're the superstar, April.
Yes. So I'm Rachel Graham, and I co-facilitate our Family, Career, and Community Leaders, or FCCLA chapter at the high school, along with Jonathan Santana. FCCLA supports our teaching and our culinary pathways together, so that's why we co-lead. As new facilitators this year, we really wanted to take time to build capacity with our group, and then we had planned to take students to the state competition next school year. But April reached out and asked if she could compete this year. So
Good.
Her area of expertise is early childhood education. So she wanted to compete at the STAR event that they offer at the state level. So we spent some time together working and prepping and thinking about all the things needed for that. And not only did she land up competing, she scored second place in the state. So we're very proud of her for her work. And then she gets to travel this summer to Washington, D.C. to compete at the national conference. And she's going to share a bit about her experience and just some of the things that she's learned from competing at the state level. So,
Hi, my name is April, and this past month I competed, how Miss Graham said, at the FCCLA state competition, and I competed at the early childhood education STAR event at level 3. And basically, what I did was I had to come up with 3 different lesson plans for a certain age group, and I had chose ages 4 to 5 just because I thought they were so much easier to work with compared to our 2.5, 3-year-olds. Because I did my lessons at Mountaintop Childcare and Preschool, and so I did 3 different lessons, and all of them were different subjects, and it all has a theme. So this year's theme is Big World and Little Explorers. And so I had to do that, and I had to match everything to my theme. And then I had to create a box with all the materials, and I was only allowed to use those materials at the state level. And so it was kind of like a bam, here it is. Because at the state level, what we do is we also have a case study that we have to do. So they give us a scenario, different types of children, and you have to make a lesson plan based off those children's. And all of those children have different needs and accommodations. And I brought with me my little plaque that I got. So this is for the state level, and I got second place. And then my medal, I got second in our district. And kind of how Miss Graham said, I'm going to nationals this summer in July. And I'm looking forward to bringing another medal home. That's my biggest part, is getting gold again. But honestly, I'm mostly really excited just to grow in early childhood because I start college this fall. And so growing more about in the field and just like meeting new people because I love meeting new people. And this experience has really helped me as a future teacher because my case study gave me a lot of different scenarios that I'm not really used to on an everyday basis, even at my job at Mountaintop. And so it showed a lot of strengths and weaknesses and areas of improvement. And yeah.
do you want to tell a little bit more about the other components in the portfolio? Because you had the 3 lesson plans,
Oh, yeah.
but there were some other requirements. The portfolio was it was quite extensive.
Oh, yeah.
And
So
so
in my portfolio, I also had to write in every single lesson plan my rationale and my instructional strategies. And then I also had to include 3 modifications in every single lesson. So like for example, like one of mine, I talked a lot about like language diversities because at our center we have a lot of Spanish and English speaking students. And some of our Spanish speaking students are not quite there yet. And so a lot of them we had to translate a lot of the lessons, which is really nice because all of us are bilingual. And then within that same portfolio, we also had to have like a reflection form. And so we had to have all that, and we had to just do a whole planning summary page of why we did it, what were our biggest concerns within all of the lessons. And that's pretty much it because our lessons are really picky. And so we would have to have a certain amount of thing because at the state and national, they take points off of the portfolio and your box, I guess, and like the materials. So you always have to be ready for everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's it.
And there was also the section of all the classes that you've taken
Oh,
and
yeah.
our certifications and work-based learning experience. So
Yeah.
it's not just the lessons, but also holistically all that a student has engaged in with that particular topic, in this case, early childhood
Yeah.
education. So
Yeah. Perfect.
do you have any questions for us? For April, I should say. Julie did better.
Well, first of all, congratulations. And we're just so proud of you. It's just fantastic. I love that you advocated for yourself and said that you wanted to compete. That's fantastic because it sounds like it was not an easy task that you took on. Have you been to Washington, D.C. before?
I have not, but I'm super excited to go
Yeah.
this summer and just see everything that I can
Yep.
and obviously compete and we'll represent Estes Park High School at the national level. And like I said, hopefully come back with more medals and
Yeah,
stuff
well,
like that.
Best of luck to you. I'm sure you will do a fantastic, and I hope you have some time to visit different places in DC. And then where are you going to school next year?
I'm going to Northeastern Junior College down in Sterling, Colorado.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's smart. Wonderful. Well, I'm just so thrilled and happy, and thank you for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you guys for listening.
I just want to echo the congratulations and wish you luck in DC. And is it similar setup, I guess, for the national that you had at the state? Is that what you're expecting? And
Yes. Only thing that's very different at the national level is that it's all of the United States and all of its territories competing. So there's going to be a lot more people and a lot of different like kinds of people. But I'm confident enough to think that I think I'll do really good. And I think PTeach has really pushed me up ahead of a lot of the other people with all the classes I've taken, along with all of the trainings I've taken at work as well. So hopefully a lot of these people will be more matched to my level than maybe others have. And it's really nice opportunity. Even if we don't come back with a medal,
absolutely.
we still have that opportunity
Yeah.
to go.
No, very impressive. So best of luck to you, and I
Thank you
hope you
so
enjoy the
much.
experience. Great job.
Thank you.
You might remember April 2 years ago was our spotlight student for our annual publication. And April, I just want to say I've been watching you all these years and you are a natural leader. And I'm so thrilled for you to graduate. And thank you for all you've contributed to our school district. And I hope we see you back here someday in the classroom.
I hopefully will. You guys will definitely see me back. And thank you so much.
Thanks, April. Well
Thank
done.
you.
And good luck.
Thank
Oh,
you.
one more thing. Can I get a picture of you and Miss Graham, who has
Yeah.
supported you with your plaque and medal?
Moving on to agenda item 4, discussion items, agenda item 4.1, DAC report. You want to come on up?
Good evening, Board President Faree and board members. Superintendent Bodie, thank you so much for having me tonight. My name is Emily Lazat. I am one of the DAC co-chairs. I am also a mom of a soon-to-be fourth grader, or fifth grader. I was going to say, she's finishing fourth. She has 3 more days, as she's told me, and then she'll be in fifth. And I'm also alumni in the district. I want to say that our co-chair, Cabrera, was unable to attend tonight, but she is certainly an integral part of DAC and of our meeting success throughout the year. So DAC, District Advisory and Accountability Committee. Our mission to advise and hold Estes Park School District accountable in terms of their mission, vision, and goals. In our vision, our diverse community works with the district to ensure that our students graduate with the knowledge, skills, and experience needed to be successful and responsible citizens. I think it was Superintendent Bodie who described it to the DAC one time that staff of the district are heads down. They're in this work every day. They see students every day. They're doing this. So the DAC is an opportunity to kind of look that view up and have some diverse perspectives coming in and asking some questions and thinking about things in a really different way. So I've appreciated that through DAC, of that idea of we don't have to be educators or an academic to provide some good feedback and support to the district. So I've really been grateful for that kind of perspective of DAC. Our membership was confirmed at our September 22nd meeting by you all, by the board, and we had 18 members. We were required to have at least 3 parents and teachers, or parents of students enrolled in the district. We can check that off. Teachers enrolled in the employed by the district, at least 1. We met that. And school administrators, at least 1. We also met that. And persons involved in business in the community within the district. So our membership met DAC requirements. Despite, we did have some, I guess, natural attrition. We had some folks who signed up and you all approved, but didn't end up coming to meetings. And we're unsure of why that is. They never told us they didn't want to, and we certainly allow that opportunity if folks say, I'm no longer interested. And we had one member that reached out and said, this isn't for me this year, maybe in the future I can participate. Our meeting schedule, so we met the first Wednesday of the month from 4:30 to 6, and we changed our meeting time slightly. We were meeting 4:15 to 5:45, but then we were just kind of honest with ourselves that we needed that extra 15 minutes to really get set up and get started on time, so we moved it back. We met 5 times throughout the year, in October, November, January, and February. January, February, and March. December, we had inclement weather, so we did not meet then. For our April meeting, we encouraged participants to come to the superintendent forum, the candidate forums. And then in May, we also had a little bit of snow for our DAC meeting. So we encouraged folks to come to the Long Range Planning Committee meeting the following Monday on the 11th. Our attendees did vary throughout the meetings. So we had at least 10 attendees in all of our meetings, sometimes a little bit more. And it was interesting because it wasn't always the same mix of people. So we often got different perspectives where when we'd circle back on topics, someone would say, who was new to that, maybe would say, oh, what about this? Or have we thought about that? So I really appreciated that kind of perspective as we went along. We did review, all of our meetings began with, just as I said to you, our mission and our vision and a review of the Board of Education charges. And then we always had a moment to circle back, typically with Superintendent Bodie leading us in the how was our meeting from last time? How was that feedback used in district planning? And then we went into new topics, often with small group discussions and then large group discussions. Our group really liked to discuss, and it was great because we always had lots of feedback. We've done this same topic a few times at the beginning of the year for DAC meetings where we've gone through Board of Education charges versus DAC. And I think that's a great way to help people ground in what DAC is and what we do. And then we also, we know that there's a strategic plan that the district has been working on. So we were very conscious this year through DAC that we were really advising on how that plan is working, not necessarily the creation of new things and new topics and new action items, but really looking at those action items as far as their efficacy and how they're working in the district and maybe ideas of slight changes to really get at those strategic planning items. So our first DAC charge was to advise the district on the 3 strands of the strategic plan: academic achievement and growth, real-world learning, and wellness. Superintendent Bodie presented to DAC on the strategic plan and updates from that. And I think for academic learning and growth, the big picture, what I heard from Superintendent Bodie was that when we look at those trend lines, we are going in the right direction. That is huge for our district. We are seeing data that's moving us from the improvement status to performance status. We have the goal of continuing that trajectory and going from accredited to accredited with distinction. That is wonderful to see at our district. And when DAC was thinking about some of the potential reasons why, part of it definitely came to the focused attention on the strategic plan. How everyone in the district has that goal and is working towards that. And we as DAC members are seeing that, which is excellent to see. Of course, there's some areas where we could use some improvement. And one thing that DAC recognized was the consistency to make sure not only we have those clear expectations in our strategic plan, but that every single member of our team understands the why and is able to implement them. So that's just an idea. We also talked about how parents sometimes might not know all the back end work that goes into the strategic plan, and how all of those scores and all of those ratings improving are reflective of teachers, staff, students, hard work in the classroom every single day, and people showing up for our students. So one example of how DAC feedback was utilized is there's often staff professional development days on Mondays. As a parent, I don't always know that that's truly the opportunity for staff to focus on those techniques that are helping my child to grow and to learn and to show that growth and achievement. So one item that DAC brought forward, and we certainly saw, was to tell parents why their students don't have class on Monday and what the district is doing, and that's one of the ways that we're helping to improve those academic scores. And as a parent, that certainly makes that talking point for me where I'm like, okay, there's no school on Monday, but I know it's for this reason. It's helping my child. So that's an example of the feedback DAC brought forward and then how it was incorporated into the district. Another area that was discussed by DAC and I think is ongoing in the district is communication plans. What is it we're communicating and how? And we looked at two communication plans, two one-page communication plans, one with a target audience of families of students and the other target audience of staff. And I just want to say, DAC really appreciated the work that went into those. And to see that come forward from the prior year to this year, that communication plan was really impactful to see. Again, consistency, that everyone follows the communication plan may be an opportunity for improvement. And then consistency about what communication channels and what information is being communicated. Parents would like to see consistent communication about how their children are doing academically. And I definitely saw improvements, and I think these communication plans will help to increase that. There's some opportunities to understand how homework is utilized and graded. And then there's some opportunities so that parents know the context of testing. We as parents aren't academics, so when we hear things like CMAS, we don't always know what that is. So providing that context ahead of time helps us to understand what the test is, what is it measuring, what can we do for our student to succeed, and then when we get those results, those areas where as parents, we understand a little bit more about what the results are telling us. DAC also discussed real-world learning. We continue to see how students love to know, and certainly as parents, we like to be able to say how the concepts they're learning can apply to multiple subjects or life outside of the classroom. I just had this conversation with my own daughter of how are math and art related? And we talked a lot about that. So about the connections between ratios and patterns and understanding exponential things. And so those are the pieces that students are putting together at so many levels in our school. We also, fourth graders, wrote a persuasive essay to Laura's about ice cream flavors, which was a highly anticipated real-world learning experience of how you can persuade others to see your perspective and or make your ice cream flavor. So that's one example, and I think that really comes through in the district, that real-world learning approach. We talked how there may be opportunities for volunteers throughout the community, not just parents, but other members of our community may have opportunities to come into our district and provide insights. That's a great connection with real world learning, hearing from someone else about their career. And then Front Range Community College dual enrollment and career and technical education continue to be some of those real highlights of real world learning and how those tie in with academic learning and growth. And then for wellness, certainly the DAC reviewed the perception survey and the wellness survey. And the goal for those surveys is to have at least a 75% favorable rating. So it's interesting to note that those are always data points. Those are great ways to get data, not the only data points for any survey. And I think for wellness, one of the things that really struck out was a question that was favorable across all of the schools, which was, my teacher cares about me. And that had a consistently high score of over 80%. That's really showing that wellness piece, that students feel comfortable to be in the classroom and with their teacher, that it's a comfortable space for them. For wellness, and I will note that this part will be corrected for the meeting minutes, the district has implemented a 24/7 reach out crisis line. And DAC actually would like to see that advocated more strongly in the district. I had a misprint in your meeting in the report that you'll see. So I'll get Chris a revised version here. But I think that resource is really key for families. And the way maybe that families were reading it is it has to be for crisis, but it doesn't. The service is for families who may need a little bit more support. So how can we get that word out? That it's not just crisis, it's navigating life and needing someone else to talk to and help with your family. But that resource and that it's 24/7 is one of the ways that the district is clearly showing a focus on wellness. Charge 2 for DAC was budget and spending priorities. And thank goodness for Director of Business Services, Lund, to come explain the budget to DAC. That's very helpful. And no surprise, personnel costs make up about 75 to 85% of the district's budget. And that clearly aligns with where DAC would put funding to people, to our educators, to our staff, to the folks working with students every day. Director Lund certainly talked to us about spending priorities. And then when asked if there were other things we could do, if we had any excess funding, what would that be? And DAC had teachers in the room at the time who happily raised their hands and brought up some ideas. And it was great to hear the ideas that they said. Staff, we know we would certainly invest in, but some other things, some refreshes, some new ways to make our furniture, our spaces really work for learning, really work for all types of learners. So that was a great conversation that the teachers were able to bring forward. And then Charge 3, monitor ESSA, Every Student Succeeds Act. Again, we did that with Director Lund, and we are currently using some ESSA funds for professional development for staff, safety student software, that's a tongue twister, and providing support to families and households. And one idea that DAC had brought forth last year and we were interested in again was kind of that overall comprehensive resources for ELA families. And Superintendent Bodie brought up that may be done partly through EVICS, Estes Valley Investment in Childhood Success, but there still may be opportunities for our district. So some closing considerations. DAC will continue to address meeting attendance. Hopefully we can find that sweet spot where the majority of our members can come most of the time. And certainly reviewing days, times, the cadence of meetings, how we can remind people is one avenue. We would love to continue to see diversity on DAC grow and continue to see on DAC a representative force of the students we see in our district, particularly Spanish-speaking community. Certainly, we have some folks on DAC who speak Spanish and we have diversity on DAC, but we would love to figure out ways where we can engage better. I think it's important that DAC continues to review each meeting how our feedback from the last meeting was used. That's that feedback loop. That's how we make sure that what we talk about doesn't go out into space and ethers, that we circle back. So I'm much appreciative of Superintendent Bodie that we put her on the spot often for how was this used, and she always comes back to us with ideas. DAC members were always ready to share thoughts and ideas. I don't think we had very many quiet meetings, which is wonderful to hear. And I think it's also wonderful to recognize that, like I said, many of us don't come from academia and we don't have academic backgrounds. And so that's actually very helpful in those diverse conversations, is that we have to ground ourselves and then open it up sometimes for those discussions and what does this mean? And then, like I said, we are grateful that we're seeing those trends going upwards, those trends, those really positive trends in so many areas of academic success. That shows a lot of hard work. And then for parents, we continue to want to know how our children are doing as far as academic learning and growth. So if they're succeeding and surpassing expectations, how can we keep them challenged? If they're not meeting it, how can we know those early indicators and give them supports? And if they're right on track, how do we keep them motivated to keep learning? So I want to say a big thank you with much gratitude to Chair Cabrera. She spends lots of time prepping for each meeting, setting our agendas, leading those discussions, keeping the team on task, providing insights. She's truly invaluable to DAC. And then also to Superintendent Bodie. Thank you for all of your time as you work with our committee and you help us, and you will be missed next year, Ruby. So thank you very much for all the work that you've done with us, and it's been a pleasure. So I'd happily take any questions from the board.
I don't have any questions, Emily, but I'm just super grateful for the work that you and Courtney and the entire committee perform. You know, the upward trajectory that you spoke of, I want you guys to know that you're part of that for sure. You know, that you serve, you know, the DAC committee serves a very important role. And that I think having 10 people there is great, you know, and there's good work coming out. So, you know, it's not about how many, it's more about the quality than the quantity. So I think you guys are doing a fantastic job and we appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to add, so this was my first year on DAC, and I was intimidated because I had no educational background, but as you said, I think it's important that parents and other members of the community be represented and bring perspectives, and I think your report captured all of the discussions very well. I really appreciated you and Courtney's leadership, the way you stayed organized, captured the discussions, and kept us on task of the overall purpose of the DAC committee. So kudos to both of you for that. And I do hope we get more people participating in that, because I certainly saw the value, and I think the conversations and discussions were great, never quiet, and always very constructive. I think we worked very well together. So great job.
Thank you.
So talking about attendance for next year, I guess we talked about at our work session that we're integrating all three. So in addition to our, I guess, formally approved members, just consider adding drop-ins and how that would work so that we could have more attendance, and whether they participate or they watch, what that looks like. So more parents can be there and better turnout.
Okay. This is something you guys are considering?
Correct.
Okay.
For next year. Correct.
Excellent. I'd love to learn more.
Yeah, we have, Emily, we're struggling with getting at our school level accountability meeting. We're struggling getting parents to attend those. So at the elementary and the secondary level, the principal's done an incredible amount of outreach for community members. And that's that time frame, or those two committees seem to be a struggle. So because we're under 1,000 students, we can combine those committees and have everyone be represented at DAC. So next year, maybe we'll talk about how do we get better representation, improve the holes that we're missing in outreach to the community to improve that attendance at DAC, so, and more diverse. So we're talking about that later this evening.
Thank you.
And just making sure that we have representation from each of the buildings there as well will be especially important for DAC next year.
Sure, absolutely.
Parent wise, or yeah,
And staff.
and staff, of course, yes.
Yep.
Emily, I just want to give a deep heartfelt thank you to you and Courtney. It's been such a pleasure to work with you. And I just want the community to know how incredibly prepared and proactive you are with planning. And Courtney is a master facilitator. She's so good and gets all the voices heard. And yeah, I'm really going to miss working with you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 4.2, Evaluation Advisory Committee, end of year report. Ruby's going to do that report for us.
On our agenda this evening, we have a lot of end of year summary reports for our committees that are required by state statute, and this is one of them. I led this committee this year. It's the Evaluation Advisory Committee. It consists of teachers and administrative representation, and it serves to ensure that the district's evaluation practices remain clear and consistent and focused on professional growth. And the purpose and direction at the outset of the year, the committee reviewed the work of the past years, and they established a shared purpose centered on ensuring that we give constructive feedback, and it's a growth-oriented process for educators. Members emphasized that the evaluation should be reflective, personalized, evidence-based, and grounded in professional dialogue. And throughout the year, the committee consistently reinforced the importance of recognizing that collaborative input strengths in both instructional practices and student outcomes are discussed. The committee also recognized the importance of clear communication regarding concerns about performance and holding teachers accountable to high standards of practice for instruction and professionalism, and that this is also an important part of our evaluation process. And as a result, the committee continued work that they wanted to do on a look-for document. So this was a lot of work that they did last year and had a rough draft produced by the end of the year. So we picked that work up this year. The primary focus of the committee's work this year was to refine that and then plan for implementation for that look-for document. It was a resource that was developed by teachers for teachers, and it's designed to provide concise examples of instructional practices aligned with district evaluation rubrics, which we use the RANDA rubric, the state rubric, and then to support reflection, goal setting, and professional conversations. So earlier in the year, and this committee meets quarterly, so not as frequently as DAC, every year the committee kind of sets their goal. And so earlier in the year, they refined the purpose, scope, and messaging of the document. And then the teacher representatives on the committee gathered feedback from colleagues in their buildings. They brought that feedback to the committee for analysis. And as a result, clear language was added to emphasize that the tool is optional. It's not evaluative in nature. It's created for teachers, and that it's intended to support and not define effective teaching. Feedback that was gathered from staff across all the buildings indicated a strong interest in the tool, along with important questions regarding its use. So that feedback informed the revisions and then reinforced the need for consistent messaging and thoughtful implementation, which led to the work for the rest of the year. There was a strong desire to use the tool for goal setting and for conversation with instructional coaches. And so we focused on using it for that work. So we then brought all of the administrators in and instructional coaches, and for the second half of the year, the committee shifted from design to the implementation planning for next school year. So we'll be ready to fully implement that for the 26-27 school year. A formal goal was established, and that was to develop and pilot an implementation plan for the look-for document that embeds protected time for educators to use it and to use it as a coaching-oriented tool for reflection, learning, and growth. The committee collaboratively developed a detailed implementation plan with actions, and it includes an introduction of the look-for document at the start of the school year next year, led by instructional coaches, integration into new teacher orientation and professional learning structures, dedicated time for individual reflection and collaborative use in PLCs. Those are professional learning committees of teachers that talk about good instructional practice, ongoing opportunities to revisit and refine use throughout the year, and then clear communication to ensure the tool is used for growth and not as a compliance checklist. So those were the 5 actions that came out of that work. So to ensure coherence and consistency, principals, assistant principals, and instructional coaches were engaged in that final meeting to talk about it, align expectations, and support system-wide implementation. And I met with the principals this year. They shared all the actions for next year's strategic plan. It's written in May. We're feeling really good about that. They did some incredible work with their leadership teams and came back with great actions. And some of them include the use of this tool and what was talked about in this committee. So direct implementation of the work of this committee. Additional areas of input and improvement that came up, maybe direction for work next year, is increasing consistency across buildings and evaluation procedures and communication, clarifying expectations around lesson plan submission and pre-conference options, improving scheduling practices for observations, identifying opportunities for increased teacher voice and flexibility within the evaluation cycle. So that can lead the work for the upcoming year. And so yeah, this is just discussions that contributed to greater clarity and alignment across the district and continued work to get to that distinguished school district accreditation rating that was talked about earlier by Emily. She left. She's not here anymore. So that is our work of the committee. Yeah. So in conclusion, the Evaluation Advisory Committee has fulfilled its statutory role this year by engaging in thoughtful collaborative work to strengthen the district's evaluation system. The committee will miss members Terry Leha and Sandy Life. They've served on the committee for many, many years, and they are retiring. Their efforts reflect a strong commitment to educator growth, instructional improvement, and alignment with district values. So thank you to Sandy and Terry.
And Ruby. Yeah, I just think it was really poignant that two of our retiring teachers were on this committee, and this almost feels like a gift that they left for the schools in this look for document, because they worked, the entire committee worked really hard on it, and I'm excited to see how it's implemented next year.
Moving on to agenda item 4.3, Wellness Committee Report. Cindy Peach, come on.
Good evening. As a Director of Student Services, I get the opportunity to lead the District Health and Wellness team. We had a really fun time this year. This year we got to audit our wellness policy. And so, and just to kind of back up a little bit, the health and wellness policy is required by CDE and the USDA, Department of Agriculture, for all districts that participate in the child nutrition program. We review the policy, provide any suggestions for updates, and then just evaluate how we're doing in relation to the policy and our practices. The committee is made up of administration, myself, nutrition services, nursing, and teaching staff across the district. And so we met 4 times this year and conducted this audit. We used a tool called the WellSat, which is the Wellness School Assessment Tool, which is one of the recommended tools by CDE. And in that process, the first thing we looked at was our policy. And so there's a WellSat policy tool, and it looks at our policy and compares it to a model policy. And we kind of went through and looked at what we had and what we didn't have, and we score it a 2, 1, or a 0. And then the second component that we did was then to look at our practices across the district. So the WellSat tool provides us with a pretty comprehensive list of questions that we disaggregated out to principals, to the PE teachers, to our nutrition services director, and our school nurse, and myself. And so we answered all these questions, and then we inputted all that information into the practice tool, and then it gave us scores on how our practice is and related to the model practice. Once we got that, it compares both of those, and then we kind of dig in, and from that, we kind of analyze the results from that, and then kind of our final aspect was to put together kind of a conclusion report, and that information will be put on the district website, which is, what they recommend that we do so we can get public feedback. But the nice thing is now that we've looked at that, we have kind of created And then we'll in more depth next year, kind of create our action plan for over the next 3 years of what do we want to address. And so we've kind of prioritized the areas that we feel like we need to address first, looking at both maybe where our policies and practices don't align, or where maybe pieces are not evident. And so will carry us through in our work for the next 2 years in terms of how we're going to better align our policies, look at it, review it, and see if we want to add to that. And then as well as looking at our practices. Let's see. So we have a scorecard, the summary report, which is going to be posted on the website. We prioritized our areas to work on. We will come up next year at the beginning with a focused action plan. And then we'll continue to monitor our progress through future WellSat assessments and the scorecard comparisons. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Cindy, for your report. I'm wondering which areas you identified as priorities.
There were some areas in our policy that didn't match the model policy. And so I think it's really looking into that to determine, do we want to add more to our policy? And so in the report, which it's probably about 6 or 8 pages long, we looked at the scores. And so the areas that we prioritized were scores where we had 0 and 0. So we didn't meet the policy and we didn't meet it in our practice. So we're like, those are the things that we need to address first. And so, and it's varied throughout different aspects of kind of that evaluation. I don't know if you want me to get into details, but I think just the areas where we scored 0 and 0 were the ones that we were like, those are the ones we want to address first. And then, we'll work on the other ones in the coming years. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 4.4, Superintendent Report, Superintendent Bodie.
You might have noticed we didn't have a student report tonight. Our student board reps are not here at the meeting. It's the last week of school and they're just very, very, very busy with all the end of the year events. So they don't have a student report. So we'll move on to the superintendent report, which consists of facility updates and focus areas, community family engagement, and finance updates every month. So first of all, I just want to welcome Jenny Roberts, our new board director. So this is your first meeting. Welcome to the team. Thank you for being here. And for facilities updates, I want to thank Eric Adams, Matt Bird, and Nathan Harger. And in addition, all the rest of the custodial staff. We have so many events happening at the end of the school year. There's events every single evening and weekend over the past 2-week period. And it's required extensive setup, cleanup, and preparation, and maintenance needs. And they've put in long hours every week while continuing to respond to maintenance requests throughout the district during the day. And so we are so grateful to them, and they're doing a phenomenal job. Our long-range planning committee met one final time with our team of architects and members of the District Advisory and Accountability Committee. They were also invited for the meeting because our architects were going to come present to DAC, but then we got 2 feet of snow. And so they all just joined the long-range planning committee, which was the week after. And so we had a big team there. The architects presented more specific information on 2 different schemes to consider for our long-range facilities and master plan for the future of our school district. And then the Board of Education also reviewed those 2 schemes for consideration at our last work session. The team of architects gathered additional feedback from school staff by presenting to all staff on May 4th as well since our last board meeting. And they discussed those 2 concepts with staff at that time. And then they're also gathering feedback from staff through gathering it through surveys. Some questions arose that require more specific information to compare the 2 schemes before any final decisions or direction are established. And that was asked for from all the committees and the board. And so the team continues to work through all those details. We're getting closer to finalizing this plan. And I just want to thank everyone for their valuable time, questions, and feedback throughout this process. And gathering all of their perspectives has been extremely valuable. It's been a lot of hard work and time and dedication to get to the point of where we are, and we're excited about the facilities future for our district. For finance updates this evening, Brian Lund presented a preliminary budget plan to the Board of Education at our last work session on Tuesday. Overall, the district remains in good financial standing with regard to our reserved fund balance. It's very, very healthy. When we look at our program funding as established through our per pupil enrollment in the Colorado funding formula, we are essentially flat funded. This means that as we plan our budget for next year, we anticipate maintaining the same staffing and spending plan we currently have in place. The salary schedules for staff will remain the same, while staff will continue to receive increases based on years of service and continued education as part of our salary tables. For family and community engagement, this has been a short month. We had a board meeting recently. What's been really going on is I've enjoyed being involved in all the community events and attended many of the end of year events, and they're still ongoing this week, and I've been able to engage with families and community members. We've had a lot of events since our last board meeting, including a band concert, combined choir concert, senior capstone presentations, sixth grade play performance, scholarship night. Upcoming events this week include a chord ceremony, high school spring showcase, fifth grade promotion, baccalaureate, elementary project-based learning presentations that students are doing, eighth grade promotion, and of course then our graduation on Friday. So lots and lots of community engagement happening around our schools. It's really rewarding to celebrate all these milestones for our students. We have a lot to be proud of in our school district. For focus area highlights, under our strategic focus area 1, I'm thrilled to celebrate that. This is exciting. We have 25 of our multilingual learners who are designated as either non-English or limited English proficient that scored high enough on the WIDA Access Assessment to be redesignated and exit explicit English language development programming. Yeah, huge. It's 20% of our multilingual learners. Teachers will be celebrating these students with certificates and recognizing them in front of their peers and parents this week. We are incredibly proud of these students and our teachers for the excellence we are achieving in our English language development program. We have other exciting things under focus area 1, but that's a big highlight. This week, students have been taking our end of year NWA MAPS assessments. These serve as our district measure for monitoring progress toward our academic goals in our strategic plan. Students are nearly finished testing. Well, they are at this point. We'll be able to gather the data here soon and present it to you, and I'm thrilled with the results so far as we've been monitoring as it comes in. Across all tested grade levels district-wide, we've improved. 61% of our students are meeting expectations in math, 62% in reading, and 64% in science. It represents a 1 to 3% increase in every subject for academic growth compared to last year's end of year scores. And in terms of growth, or that was achievement. In terms of growth, our students made more growth from the beginning to the end of the year in all 3 subject areas than they did last year. This year, 67% of our students met adequate growth in math, 67% met it in reading, and 64% in science. We're very excited to see these results, and we'll provide more detail for the board in our report in June when we meet in a work session, and I go over that strategic plan monitoring report about our benchmarks. But we're excited to see the results that have come in so far and celebrate our students in that way. In focus area 2, senior capstones and spring showcase are exemplary demonstrations of real and relevant learning to close the year out, and those have been happening. But all year long, I've been impressed with the creativity of our teachers in planning and implementing authentic applications of learning and performance tasks within their classrooms. Our final band concert of the year and combined schools choir concert were remarkable last week. Our school district has received the NAM Best Communities for Music Education Award this year. This designation is an honor, and I want to celebrate our music teachers, Brianna Gress, Paul Maley, Nick Pierce at our schools, and then Melinda Workman at our options program for this accomplishment, as well as all of the opportunities that the students have within the community, because we included those in our application as well. So thank you to the Fine Arts Guild and all the other private lessons and all the things that happen in our community. And then focus area 3, wellness. We currently have our end of year parent perception survey and student surveys open in order to gather a final picture of our school perceptions as we conclude the year. We held our end of year staff celebration where we gathered together to celebrate the incredible year that we've had and honor our retiring staff members and let them know how much we appreciate them and how much we will miss them. There's a lot of laughter and a lot of fun. We also recognize several outstanding staff and community members for our annual awards. Our substitute of the year was Jan Hanks. Volunteer of the year was Bree Silver. Coach of the year, Matt Seiler. Classified employee of the year, Melissa Anderson. And teacher of the year was Anastasia Sunday. It's such a wonderful celebration. It's the largest attendance I've ever seen at one. I've been here 20 years, and we truly have exceptional educators. I also want to highlight Jesus Cherez as Certified Employee of the Quarter Award for fourth quarter, and Tim Rishi as our it's the other way around. Jesus is our Classified Employee of the Quarter, as error in my report, and Tim Rishi is our Certified Employee Teacher of the fourth quarter. Both are repeatedly nominated by their peers every time we send out nominations and recognized for their incredible work with our students, and we're grateful for them. So that's the end of my report. Thank you for your support of our schools. We are better together.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 4.5, administrative reports. Ms. Miller is not able to attend this evening, so
You get a lot
Dr.
of
Ruby?
me tonight. I apologize. You get a lot of me tonight. I'm going to read Erin's report for her since she can't be with us tonight. Elementary has a lot of celebrations. Erin always starts with celebrations. The Golden Globe Award that's passed around between staff this time went to Severin Cargill for her creativity and work to support students' global awareness and compassion through art. And it went to Jenny Godsey for her holistic development of all the global outcomes in our youngest learners through play and learning. The elementary had 19 English language learners that are redesignated and exiting from the English language development program this year. They'll be celebrating these students and awarding them with certificates at their whole school assembly on Thursday this week, with a reception afterward for families in the library. Congratulations and thank you to Coach B for an incredible field day. We get very few spring days where it's just a phenomenal 80-degree sunny day for field day, and we got one this year. It was just exceptional. The kids had a blast. It was a perfect day. And then congratulations also to Paul Maley and Brianna Gress for an amazing district-wide choir concert at the YMCA and all the time, energy, and collaboration they put into that. And I got to say, I went out there when they were rehearsing that afternoon, and our kids behaved exceptionally well out there for 3 hours of rehearsing. It was impressive. Proud of our kids. Events happening. Tuesday, May 19th at 6 p.m. is the 5th grade promotion. Wednesday, May 20th at 6 p.m. is the Bobcat Beats performance, rescheduled from our 2 feet of snow day. And then Thursday, May 21st at 8:30 a.m. is the end of year assembly and the English Language Development Redesignation Awards ceremony. Thursday, May 21st at 10 a.m. is the preschool promotion ceremony. And for strategic plan work under achievement and growth, the elementary is reporting that they're very excited to be celebrating the end of year growth and achievement from the DIBELS and the NWA MAPS assessments reflected in their Tide Makers. If you remember, the elementary has the Tide Maker ships theme. High tides carry all ships. So they're getting great results, and teachers are right now looking at those results. And also thank you to the Literacy Curriculum Adoption Committee who worked so hard on the ELA program for last year, because the teachers really are enjoying the curriculum and thinking it's having a big impact on the growth results that they're seeing. They're implementing arts and letters and really great reading this year. And thank you to our Board of Education for the support of this transition. And Project Launch kicks off June 2nd. So we have 1 week of elementary quiet. Our custodians really appreciate that week. And then we start Project Launch June 2nd. Ashley Silva will be our coordinator for that this year. She's our elementary counselor. We have 99 students signed up right now. We're excited for all the learning and fun they're going to have in June. Under real world learning focus area, the elementary wrapped up this year with some amazing real world project-based learning in all the grades. 5th grade designed a live wax museum featuring influential figures in U.S. history, and the kids did a great job being those characters. Congratulations to Connor Natras, who was the 4th grade ice cream contest winner. I don't know if you went down and tasted the ice cream. His was the PB Bomb. So if you go down to Laura's Fine Ice Cream, you can sample PB Bomb and you can read his essay. fifth grade was able to go to their overnight camp May 7th and 8th at High Peaks. While they weren't able to do the scheduled activities that were planned for because of the snow, they pivoted and everyone had a blast making snowmen, sledding, playing games at camp inside, and being unplugged. Thank you to the Village Thrift and Women's Club for their donations and to our fifth grade teachers for their commitment to that experience. This year, our art teachers collaborated on a project between first grade and the high school students. After the first graders made sketches of unique creations, our high school art students turned the images into 3D printed toys for the first graders. Tomorrow, they will be bringing their art creations to the elementary and sharing them with the first grade students. And then under wellness, the multi-tiered systems of support team, MTSS team, had their final MTSS day, to target transition plans for students to the following grades and ensure that they have a success plan in place for every student and that support continues for the next grade level. And then ending the year with an overall attendance rate of 93%. I'm proud of that. We're excited to continue the momentum and strategies to continue to raise attendance rates next year. That's the elementary report. Thank you, everyone.
Curious on Project Lunch and that 80 students that we have in it, how that compares to previous years.
In the previous years, we've had 90. Right now, we have 80 placed and looking for more staff because we want to take all 99. So it's 9 or 10 more than we've had. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Ms. Greenway.
I'm going to come in here and do this over the summer. All right, good evening. I'll start with some events and happenings. I think Ruby touched on some already, but we can celebrate them twice. The prom on May 2nd was just so much fun. The theme was A Night in Venice, and they had a photo op in a gondola that they built. And Brad Ones volunteered to be the gondolier in the photos with a striped shirt and a scarf. And it was a lot of fun. The junior class did a really great job organizing that event. There is a lot of planning that goes into a prom, and they really checked all the boxes. And it was just a really well-run and fun event, a lot of dancing. It's great to see a bunch of seniors line dancing. It's fun. Our jazz band performed at the UNC Jazz Festival in Greeley along with Major 13. That was on April 23rd. They worked with jazz experts to hone their performance, and J.R. Hawker and Miles Wignall received outstanding soloist medals at that event. They also played at Cinco de Mayo, where they played some samba, some mambo, and cha-cha tunes. And the village band stepped in and helped them with some of that performance as well. So great community collaboration there. The final band concert was wonderful. The high school jazz and concert bands received standing ovations at the end of the concert. Great music. As Ruby said, the All Schools Choir concert was out at the Y on the 13th. Really great collaboration from the vocal music team of Paul Maley and Brianna Gress, and of course, all of our students. The senior clap out is tomorrow at 2:30. Bring an umbrella. I think we're going to go ahead and try it. I'll tell the seniors to bring their jackets. And then our showcase will be May 20th at the high school at the end of finals on Wednesday. It is finals week. They start tomorrow. On the 19th, we did get our seniors started a little bit early on Friday and today to get some of those finals out of the way with AP testing and all the senior events coming up. We will have our seniors finished with their finals on Wednesday so that they can do senior events on Thursday, practice for graduation, and then graduate on Friday. We had our local scholarship night on the 11th. The community is so generous. $220,000 went out to our graduating seniors. I think half our seniors received a scholarship of one type or another. We're just so lucky
to live where we live and have community that supports our kids so much. It makes a huge difference to get started that first year in college that way. Senior prank this year was quite something. They completely wrapped my office in tinfoil. Every single pen and pencil. I have a little candy dish with mints on my desk. They wrapped every single piece in tinfoil. There's also a little cricket in my office somewhere. I guess the batteries last for maybe 5 to 6 months. So I need to name it. Just what a great senior class. And I have to say, I walked in the next day expecting to be cleaning tinfoil out of my office, and they had come in and removed every single piece except the candy dish. But that's good for me because it takes longer for me to open it. So I'm not going through it as fast. That was great. They also set up an inflatable movie screen and hid little frogs. And there are more crickets in the building. So if you're in the high school and you hear them, it's not an infestation. I promise. As Ruby said, we had a couple secondary teachers. At the end of year celebration, Anastasia Sunday was our teacher of the year, and then Matt Seiler was our coach of the year. So celebrating with them. Few things coming up this week in both schools. 8th grade promotion Thursday and high school graduation on Friday. I'm sure I missed something. But always lots going on this time of year. We are starting to dig into our MAP testing data. I put some highlights in my board report. We tested on May 7th and pretty pleased with some of the growth that we saw from fall to spring. We'll continue to work, but we are moving lots and lots of students, as Ruby said. There's color coding for percentiles for achievement for students, and we are solidly in the yellow and moving into the green zone. And so really, really thrilled about that. So we'll continue that good work. And yeah, both of the overall achievement scores are in 40th percentile and above. So really happy about that. Still work to do, but we'll do it. Super proud of our ML students and the WIDA scores. We had 7 middle and high school students exit the program this year, and many more redesignated to those higher levels. Shout out to Shauna Carasello for her hard work and dedication to that program and her students. We'll celebrate with them Wednesday at 2:30 in her room. We have some goodie bags and some certificates and I'm sure some treats. For real world learning, our ICAP day on the 30th was just a huge success. Students attended different workshops, panel discussions, including a panel of alumni who shared their thoughts on the topic of what I wish I had known before I graduated. And our students really asked fantastic questions and learned a lot. Staff conducted workshops. We had college essay writing, joining the military, basic car and home maintenance, mock job interviews, and so many more. And we had community members come in and volunteer for some of those interviews. And then the day ended with a job fair in the gym where we had business owners who were hiring for the summer come in, and students were able to apply and interview for summer jobs. So that was a really great event. Ms. Klein, our counselor, and her student interns planned this event. Really did a great job getting that organized. We have a lot of future event planners in our high school. They could do anything. Our high school jewelry making class created custom earrings and keychains for staff. So their project included interviewing their clients for ideas and aesthetics, and then they created jewelry and delivered it to staff. So we all have cool earrings and keychains now. And then, as Ruby said in Aaron's report, our high school art students collaborated with the elementary school kids on the Monster Project. So the elementary students designed it, wrote about it, created the character, and then delivered those to the high school students. And then they created the monsters and delivered those. There's some great pictures of the kids receiving their monsters. What a great idea. Our spring STEAM market at the middle school was May 14th. And students, staff, and community were able to shop the market for student-made items. So this is a fundraiser for STEAM. So the money goes back into the program for future events and STEAM markets. the middle school and high school youth in action members with the Bohemian Foundation's Give Next program held their grant awards and gave away funds to a lot of different local organizations, EVICS, Boys and Girls Clubs, the Estes Park Education Foundation, Child Save Colorado, and Food Bank for Larimer County. Our intro to health science and our HOSA students visited Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine. They hold a rural med day. So they toured the school, learned what it was like to be a med student, got to have a Q&A with students from that college, and talked to a nurse anesthetist and people in the physician assistant programs. And then there were a lot of interactive stations for them to try things out as well. Our ML students in Ms. Caracello's class also created videos as part of a project to show mastery of the 4 domains of language that they work on. And there were some cooking shows. We have 2 middle schoolers who really could be on YouTube cooking. It was awesome. A workout video, some teacher interviews, and sports shows. I was really, really impressed with what they did. For wellness, that ICAP day also included sessions on stress management. So getting ready for finals, that's always a good one to learn how to manage that. We continue to recognize students for demonstrating ROARs and global outcomes in both schools and recognizing staff with our lateral pass trophies. Hunter Hamilton and Steve Schaff received those traveling trophies at our last meeting. For Teacher Appreciation Week, we celebrated with a nacho bar on Monday and treats throughout the week, including the Happy Cart making the rounds. And look for our staff farewell video coming soon featuring some cool socks. We're going to do that on the last day. KMAC is again Kent Mountaineering, providing rock climbing experience for our freshmen in the fall. We're just really lucky to have that partnership with them. So thanks to John Anderson and Jessica Shockett and the Link crew for spearheading the annual trip. It's really valuable for our freshmen and the older students. Christian Woods and our wellness team put on a fun night of bowling for our staff at the Bullpen on Friday. I don't think too many people bowled, but the food was great and we had a really good time. We're excited about moving forward. As Ruby said, we're already working on those action steps for the strategic plan next year. So I think even when we're really tired at the end of the year and have so many things going on, you get your energy back when you start thinking about, here's what we're going to do next. So looking forward to that.
So now I have a question. Plans to continue the ICAP day next year?
Yes, a fall and a spring.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yep.
And another report from Ms. Ruby for athletics report.
Yeah, I'll be reading this one too. Our athletic director, Nolan Oberg, can't be here, but it's a 9-page report you saw, and I think it's a real testament. It's mostly lists of all of the all-conference and all-state recognitions that our athletes have received. And he recapped fall and winter, which we've done at a previous board meeting, but it's in this report and it's linked so you can see. I looked at it and you probably had the same thought that I did of, wow, our athletics program is really growing. And I've never seen so many kids get honors like this. And so it's super exciting. And so I will share with you the spring sports honors tonight. 2A CHSAA Regional Playoffs qualifier for the 4th straight year and first ever regional host, and number 4 seed for our baseball team this year. So we're really excited about that. And we have a lot of baseball players that got some all-league, all-conference awards. So Leo Balduzzi, he was Mile High League all-conference honorable mention. Isaac Hill was Mile High League all-conference second team and CHSAA all-state ballot. Drake Kearney, Mile High League all-conference first team and CHSAA all-state ballot. Grant Maxwell, Mile High League all-conference honorable mention. Caleb Sumner, Mile High League all-conference first team and CHSAA all-state ballot. And Noah Webster, Mile High League all-conference first team and CHSAA all-state ballot. Matthias Wesley, Mile High League all-conference honorable mention. And Coach Matt Bird was our Mile High League Coach of the Year. So that's really exciting. Congratulations to the baseball team. And Thank you, Mr. Grubbs, for coming up and seeing the game. That was awesome. And so boys swimming and diving, Evan Marcantonio, he was a 50 free and 100 free state qualifier. Girls golf, Madison Davis ranked 136 in 2A CHSA and 46 in 12th grade. Jillian Maxwell ranked 137th in 2A CHSA and 47th in 12th graders. And Kyle McCowan ranked 143rd in 2A CHSA and 35th for 10th graders. Congratulations to those golfers. Girls soccer, Yoletta Vitia Fernandez was Mile High League All Conference Honorable Mention. Lily Beers, Mile High League All Conference Second Team. And Haley Downey, Mile High League All Conference Second Team. The track and field just competed at the state meet. They took some athletes there. Jed Kim, triple jump, Mile High League All Conference First Team. And 3A CHSA State Championship qualifier. Colby O'Brien, 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, Mile High League All Conference Second Team. Noah Moore, 400-meter dash, high jump, Mile High League All Conference Second Team and 3A CHSA State Championship qualifier. Caleb Estinol, 800-meter and 1600-meter, Mile High League All Conference Second Team. Jed Kim, long jump, Mile High League All Conference Second Team. Jacob Harger, 4x1 relay, Mile High League All Conference Second Team and 3A CHSA State Championship qualifier. Jed Kim again, 4x1 relay, Mile High League All Conference Second Team and 3A CHSA State Championship qualifier. Noah Moore again, 4x100-meter relay, Mile High League All Conference Second Team and 3A CHSA State Championship qualifier. Colby O'Brien again for the 4x100-meter relay, Mile High League All Conference Second Team and State qualifier. Jacob Harger for the 4x2, Alex Perez for the 4x2, Chess Larimer for the 4x2, and Isaiah, and that's it. Yes, Mile High League All Conference Honorable Mention for that. And then, let's see, Isaiah Franklin, Elijah Wesley, William Holland, and Chess Larimer, 4x400 relay, Mile High League All Conference Honorable Mention. And then Clara Hawker, high jump, Mile High League All Conference Honorable Mention. So congratulations to all of our track and field all conference athletes. And then at our final spring awards banquet, nominees for 11, they must be in 11th and 12th grade, and they must play at least 2 sports to be considered for, and be considered for all conference or all state and represent Estes Park High School well on and off the field. And if students have those qualifiers, they are nominated to be Athlete of the Year. And then they vote by the Estes Park coaching staff on 1 female Athlete of the Year and 1 male Athlete of the Year. And so this year, those Athlete of the Year awards go to, for the female athlete, Brinley Betts, and for the male Athlete of the Year, Isaac Hill. And then we also provide an Academic Athlete of the Year award as well. Nominees must be 12th graders and have one of the top GPAs in their class and participate in at least 2 sports during the school year. Award recipients are then voted on by the coaching staff. And so the female Academic Athlete of the Year also went to Brinley Betts. Congratulations to Brinley. She's had some remarkable accomplishments this year. And then our male Academic Athlete of the Year is Evan Marcantonio. The Bobcat Fan of the Year. So the nominees were myself, Tom Cousineau, Kristen Hill, John Laughlin, Christy Nagel, Jody Rasmussen, Tony Salerno, Jonathan Coleman, Tim Smith, and Sherry Yost. And the Bobcat Fan of the Year, these nominees were nominated by athletes and staff. They show up to sporting events throughout the year. They cheer on the Bobcats. And then the award recipients are voted on by the EPHS cheer and dance team. And this year, our #1 Bobcat Fan of the Year, who we'll highlight in our annual publication, is Kristen Hill. So, and then EP Coach of the Year. Nominees are submitted across the district, and I think we said tonight Matt Seiler received that award. And then those that were nominated were Aaron Berryhill, Matt Bird, Nani Cowenberg, Karen Dell, Melissa George, John Grottenhouse, Mario Lopez, Mark Pritchard, and Matt Seiler. And then our 3 sport athletes, our Mile High League Athletic Director of the Year for this year went to our athletic director, Nolan Oberg. So congratulations to Nolan. Excited about that, well deserved. And then CHSAA 3 sport athletes this year got special honors at their final award banquet. Ashton Coleman, Madison Davis, Bristol Betts, Violet Bond, Lucy Franklin, Isaiah Franklin, Clara Hawker, Bowden Holmes, Jed Kim, Noah Moore, Gabe Oberg, Harry Oberg, Robin Scott, Abby Watry, Amelia Watry, Noah Webster. Oh, and I thought there was more, but that's it. All right. And then also, I encourage you to look at the report because there's also listed all of the coaches and then all of the volunteers. And the volunteers and support staff is 2 pages long. So thank you for all of your support of our athletics programs in our community. It's so appreciated.
I just want to second what Ruby said. Thanks to all of our coaches, the staff who supports the students, all the volunteers. All together, we make our sports program successful. So thank you, everyone involved. Moving on to agenda item 4.6, board reports. Director Wiss.
Thank you. I attended the Youth in Action Give Next Grant Awards, and it's one of my favorite events of the year. I just love to see just the kids, how committed they are to bettering their community. And it's always my favorite when they give to the Estes Park Education Foundation. It's like, we're going to give it to you, and then you're just going to give it right back to us. It's fantastic. I love it so much. And then I attended the secondary schools accountability meeting and the teacher appreciation awards and banquet, which was also really inspiring just to hear teachers talking about their colleagues and paying tribute to those who are retiring. And it's just, it was really, really inspiring to see that and feel, the respect that the teachers have for one another. And then I attended the Northern Colorado School District's Workers' Compensation Self-Insurance Pool Board meeting. And that was enough for the month.
Director Shockett.
A lot of these have already been commented on, but I helped with the mock interviews at the ICAP day at the high school. The Environmental Film Festival gave several students scholarships following that, so that was great to see. For Teacher Appreciation Donuts, which I think we all participated in, thank you to our teachers Thank you to our teachers, and also thank you to Chris for a very early morning collecting all that stuff. So, went to Bobcats on the Run with the elementary schoolers down at the lake. The master plan meeting, the finance meeting, and then the band performance and choir performance. So, yeah, thank you.
Director Roberts.
So my week and a half on the board, I have Teacher Appreciation Donuts was great. I went with Brenda to the elementary school, so great to interact with all of our teachers and thank them for all that they do. I was also at the Bobcats on the Run 5K, and we were very lucky to have a beautiful day for that event, given the recent snowstorms. I've been at several of the PBL project presentations at the elementary school, including one today, and all of those are always fun and love hearing from the students and seeing what they've been working on. So I've loved those. And then field day, which I think in the 6 years I've been going to field day, best weather ever. Coach B always does a great job, and Mr. Maley with the DJing all day and student music requests. It was all in all just a really fun day. So that's been my activities.
Director Widerski.
I went to the Donut High School. And then I go over to, they meet once a week at FCA. I meet with them every week. And then I went to the all choir at the Y, and that was pretty awesome. And I got to admit, the kids, they ran around, but they were really organized. I mean, they didn't have no problems or anything to the whole choir. So it was really good to watch them and see them.
Attended many of the already mentioned events. And one thing I attend President's Board Cafe. It's a monthly meeting for board presidents across the state. And this week, Matt Cook brought this month, Matt Cook brought everyone together and talked just about the current legislative session and all of the foresee potential challenges with that. So that's it. So moving on to agenda item 5, consent agenda. There are 7 items on the consent agenda this evening. 5.1 is the meeting minutes, April 4th, 2026, April 14th, 2026, April 16th, 2026, and April 20th, 26 meeting minutes. 5.2, made personnel list. 5.3, EL1, executive limitations. 5.4, EL7, financial administration. 5.5, memorandum of understanding, the MOU. 5.6, board committees, 2026-2027 school year. 5.7, superintendent contract, David Grebs. Are there any items a board member would like to pull from the consent agenda for discussion prior to approval of the consent agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Before calling for board recall, just want to make a comment. On the board committees, briefly mentioned earlier was the combination of the school accountability meetings into the district accountability meetings. So we'll be sending out more information on that in the future. So we'll combine those starting the next school year.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, I was going to say any other board comments. Yep.
I would just like to remind everyone that the personnel list is on the consent agenda every month, and it is not linked to any, there is no link for the public because of privacy matters. However, the board does receive a printout of the list before the meeting for our review every meeting. Thank you.
Other comments? We have a motion and second. Chris, please conduct a board roll call.
Director Furry,
Aye.
Director Roberts,
Aye.
Director Shockett,
Aye.
Director Radersky,
Aye.
Director Wiss.
Aye.
Ayes carry the vote. Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to agenda item 6, action items. Agenda item 6.1, GP 14, school board meetings, first reading. Is there a motion?
I move to approve GP 14 school board meetings first reading.
Is there a second?
I second.
Stacy, is that actually all three of those?
No, so the
Okay.
first one is the current, so everybody had a copy of it.
Yep, yep.
And then the second one is
Gotcha.
draft.
Those are
Yep.
just the links.
You
Thank
got it. It's just the links. That's all right. You seconded. Awesome. Thank you. Board discussion.
As a comment, the only change here is moving our normally scheduled Monday meetings to Wednesdays. We discussed that in work session. It just allows us to avoid a lot of Monday holidays and keep a more consistent schedule.
And I would just add to that, with that being said, we would also move our work sessions to the first Tuesday of each month at 3:30 p.m. in the admin building. So moving when our regular meeting also impacts that work session, so we have a week in between. Any other comments? Chris, please conduct a board roll call.
Director Furry,
Aye.
Director Roberts,
Aye.
Director Shockett,
Aye.
Director Radersky,
Aye.
Director Wiss.
Aye.
Ayes carry the vote. The motion passes. Moving on to agenda item 7, upcoming meetings. The board work session is June 9th, 2026, 3:30 p.m. at the admin building. Moving on to agenda item 8, adjournment. Would a board member make a motion to adjourn?
I meant to adjourn.
Is there a second?
A second?
We're adjourned, everyone. Thank you.